and this was the biggest real estate transaction in the history of the world.
That was a huge boom for the American economy.
An AI is flagging anomalies in a set of 110-year-old photographs. At first, technicians think it's just digital noise from the restoration process. But the anomalies keep appearing, forming strange geometric patterns in the ice and sky. The photos are from Shackleton's doomed Antarctic expedition, a famous story where everyone miraculously survived. But the AI is telling a different story. It's showing a hidden layer of terror in the men's faces and a presence in the photos that was never accounted for. The greatest survival story we know is about to become our worst nightmare. Anomaly in the Antarctic. The story of the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition is the stuff of legends. In 1914, Sir Ernest Shackleton and a crew of 27 men set sail on the ship Endurance, aiming to be the first to cross the Antarctic continent on foot. They never even touched the mainland. The Endurance became trapped, then crushed by the unforgiving pack ice of the Weddell Sea, leaving the men stranded thousands of miles from civilization. For nearly 2 years, they survived on ice floes, then made a desperate 800-mile journey in a small lifeboat across the world's most dangerous ocean. It's a miracle story because against all odds, every single man survived. A huge reason we know so much about their ordeal is because of the expedition's photographer, an Australian named Frank Hurley. The guy was fearless. When the Endurance was being crushed by ice, he dove into the freezing water inside the ship to rescue his glass plate negatives. He saved 120 of them, and these images have become iconic symbols of human endurance. For over a century, we've looked at these photos and seen bravery. We've seen hardship. We've seen triumph. But it turns out we were only seeing half the picture. Fast forward to today. A team of digital archivists got their hands on Hurley's original plates. Their goal was simple: use cutting-edge AI to scan, restore, and colorize these 110-year-old photos to preserve them for future generations. The AI they used is incredibly powerful. It can remove scratches, sharpen details blurred by time, and even extrapolate color based on historical data. It can see things the human eye could never pick up. And boy, did it ever. The process started normally. The grainy black and white images were transformed into stunningly clear portraits of the past. But then the AI started flagging things. In certain photos, especially those taken during the long, dark Antarctic winter, the system detected what it labeled as image artifacts. It looked like noise or maybe damage to the photographic plate. The technicians almost dismissed it. But one curious analyst noticed something strange. The noise wasn't random. It was a pattern. Get this, in the background of a dozen different photos, hidden in the jagged shapes of the ice pressure ridges or faint in the ethereal glow of the southern lights, was a recurring geometric pattern. It looked almost like a fractal, a complex repeating shape that was perfectly symmetrical. It's funny when you think about it, nature is full of patterns, but not like this. This was too perfect, too precise. It looked almost designed. The team ran diagnostics, thinking it was a glitch in the AI's algorithm, a weird digital fingerprint it was accidentally leaving on the images. But it wasn't. The pattern was in the original negatives. It had been there all along, hiding in plain sight. No natural ice formation or atmospheric event known to science could create these shapes. It was an impossibility staring them right in the face. A chilling, silent message hidden in photos of the most isolated place on Earth. The team was baffled. What could have made these marks? Was it some unknown natural phenomenon? Or was it something else? They decided to push the AI further, telling it to analyze every single pixel of every photo where the pattern appeared. The machine went to work. and what it sent back was far more terrifying than a few weird shapes in the ice. But the strange patterns were just the beginning of the horror. A fear beyond the cold. When you're stranded in Antarctica, you expect to see hardship on people's faces. Frostbite, exhaustion, hunger, that's all part of the story. Frank Hurley's photos are famous for capturing the grim, determined looks of the crew, but the AI revealed something else. Something much, much worse. The restoration team programmed the AI with a new task: ignore the environment and focus only on the men. They wanted it to perform a micro-expression analysis, a technique used by security agencies to detect fleeting involuntary facial expressions that reveal a person's true emotions. The machine can spot a flicker of fear that lasts just 1/15 of a second. The results were chilling. Of course, the AI found expressions of fatigue, sadness, and even moments of hope. But it also found something else, an emotion that didn't fit the narrative of gritty survival. It was terror, pure or undiluted terror. It wasn't the look of a man who is cold and hungry, it was the look of a man seeing something that fundamentally breaks his understanding of reality. This specific expression, a unique signature of wide eyes, a slightly dropped jaw, and tightened neck muscles, appeared across multiple crew members, but only in certain photos. Here's where it gets crazy. The team cross-referenced the data. The photos showing the highest instances of this specific terror signature were the exact same photos where the AI had first discovered the impossible geometric patterns in the ice and sky. It was a direct correlation. When those strange patterns were visible, the men were terrified, not just of their situation, but of what they were seeing. Shackleton wrote in his journals about the psychological toll the ordeal took on his men. He mentioned their morale dipping, their strange dreams, and the oppressive alien feeling of the landscape. He called it the mental polar night. At the time, everyone chalked it up to the extreme stress and isolation. But the AI's findings suggest it was more than that. The crew wasn't just going stir-crazy, they were reacting to an external stimulus. They were seeing something that scared them to their very core. Something they clearly couldn't explain and apparently never spoke about. It was a shared, unspoken horror. Think about it. 28 men, trapped together, all start seeing the same impossible things. Are they all suffering from a shared delusion? A mass psychosis brought on by the endless darkness and crushing isolation? That's the logical explanation. But the AI wasn't analyzing their minds, it was analyzing photographic evidence. The patterns were physically there. The terror on their faces was real. It wasn't in their heads. It was right in front of them, out there on the ice. So the next logical question for the researchers was, what was it? What were they looking at? The team cranked up the AI's enhancement capabilities to their absolute limit, pushing it to pull detail from the deepest, darkest shadows of Hurley's photos. They were looking for the source of the fear, and they found it. The AI found the source of their terror, and it wasn't human. Shackleton's fourth companion. This is the part of the story that changes everything. For over a century, one of the most curious details of the Shackleton saga came from the man himself. During the final, desperate stage of their escape, Shackleton and two of his men, Frank Worsley and Tom Crean, made an unbelievable 36-hour trek across the uncharted mountainous interior of South Georgia Island to reach a whaling station. It was their last hope. Years later, Shackleton confided to a journalist that during that impossible journey, he had the distinct and constant feeling that there were not 3 of them, but 4. Worsley and Crean, when asked separately, admitted the exact same thing. They all felt a 4th unseen companion walking with them, guiding them, protecting them. Historians have always treated this as a beautiful psychological phenomenon, a spiritual guardian angel conjured by their exhausted minds to help them survive. It was a testament to the power of the human spirit. But it wasn't just a feeling. The AI proved it. After the AI correlated the patterns with the men's terror, the researchers directed it to perform a deep-level object recognition scan on the darkest parts of the images. They wanted to see if there was anything, an animal, a weird rock formation, anything that could have been the cause. The AI churned through terabytes of data, enhancing shadows and amplifying faint outlines that were invisible to the naked eye. And then it found him, or it. In 5 different photographs taken at different times and on different ice flows, the AI identified a figure. It's in the deep background, standing just at the edge of the darkness. It's tall, unnaturally thin, and its proportions don't quite match a human being. It has no discernible features, just a dark, silent silhouette. It is not a penguin, it is not a seal. And after comparing the shape to every known member of the 28-man crew, the AI confirmed it was none of them. There was an unaccounted-for entity on the ice with the Shackleton expedition. The 29th man was real. The figure appears in a photo of the men pulling the lifeboats across the ice. It's there in another, watching the camp from a distant pressure ridge. It's always far away, always partially obscured as if it was aware of Hurley's camera. This was no guardian angel. This was the source of the crew's silent terror. The impossible patterns in the ice, the fear in their eyes. It was all connected to this thing. It was stalking them. It's funny, isn't it? The most celebrated survival story in history is actually the story of 28 men who were being hunted. They weren't just escaping the ice, they were escaping it. So what was this thing? The answer is more chilling than you imagine. What really happened out there? So let's take a step back and look at what we have. A powerful AI analyzes 110-year-old photos and finds things that shouldn't be there. First, impossible geometric patterns that defy nature. Second, micro-expressions of a specific shared terror on the crew's faces linked directly to those patterns. And finally, the bombshell, a tall, shadowy figure that isn't any of the 28 crew members, an entity that was with them, watching them. What does all this mean? It means the story we've been told is missing its most crucial chapter. This wasn't just man versus nature, it was man versus the unknown. The thing is, we'll probably never know for sure what that figure was. Was it some undiscovered life form native to the Antarctic, something that lives in the crushing cold and darkness? Was it an extraterrestrial presence drawn to the explorers? Or maybe, just maybe, it was something more psychological, a physical manifestation of the crew's collective fear and isolation, a tulpa born from their desperation. When you think about it, does something have to be made of flesh and blood to be real? If 28 men saw it, felt it, and were terrified by it, then it was real. The history books say Shackleton saved all his men, but maybe the real miracle is that he got them away from something far worse than starvation or frostbite. He faced down the elements, a mutinous crew, and a journey across the world's worst ocean, all while being stalked by an unknowable entity. This AI hasn't just restored some old photos. It has uncovered a ghost story written in silver nitrate, a tale of cosmic horror hidden in a story of survival. It makes you wonder, what other secrets are lying dormant in old photographs just waiting for the right eyes or the right algorithm to see them? Did Shackleton and his men encounter something not of this world, or did their minds play the ultimate trick on them? Let us know your theory in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden stories.